it's the Media Men, and we're going to be talking about the Rebels premiere, Siege of Lothal, and the first fall episode, Lost Commanders. So, Keegan, what did you think of the Rebels premiere?
Well, I thought the movie and the premiere were both awesome. I mean, especially in the movie, when you see Darth Vader come out in the Siege of Lothal, that was the craziest thing ever. See him in his prime, kicking real ass as Darth Vader. I mean, in the movies, like, it's great. Like, he has a presence when he comes out, like, that you just can't help but love. But at the same time, he does kind of look like he's kind of older, toying with people, but still just kind of standing back. But in this one, I mean, he was full out, force-wielding, lightsaber, dueling, just badass assassin.
Oh, man, he was manhandling Ezra and Canon. Oh my god.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's one thing to manhandle Ezra because, you know, he's a Padawan, but, like, Canon being manhandled was pretty crazy to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Kanan's never had that official, as much official training because his
he hasn't, but he's definitely leagues above Ezra still.
Oh, yeah. So, that was pretty awesome. Like, they dropped an AT-ST on him. And he's up with one hand,
just stands up, nothing happens.
And they just look at him. And, like, their reaction was the same as my reaction. I was like, he just picked that up. That didn't do anything. Didn't even hurt him.
Like, and then, you know, Ezra's like, how do we fight him? And Kanan's just all like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like,
what do you mean fight him?
Pray we'll never go up against him again.
Oh, man. I thought Ahsoka's presence in this episode was very interesting.
Oh my god. I mean, Ahsoka is one of my all-time favorite Jedi. I mean, since the Clone Wars where she started out, I've really grown to like her character a lot and where she's gone. And then it's really interesting now to see her in the Resistance.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm very eager to see where her character goes. She sensed Vader's presence and she, like, fainted. So I get the feeling that she suspects it's Anakin, but really doesn't want to believe that it's Anakin.
I think so too. I think she knows in her heart it's Anakin, but she doesn't want to believe it because it's hard to, you know, see that the person that trained you, that mentored you, you looked up to for so long has now become, you know, one of the greatest Sith Lords of all time.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. That confrontation is going to be really intense, very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I really don't want Ahsoka to die.
I really don't. I hope she doesn't die. I want this to be the first indication that there's some amount of good left in Anakin. Because I know that his son, Luke, obviously is the one that ultimately brings him back over. But, I mean, Ahsoka was so important to him. I mean, I had watched a recent interview with Dave Filoni, and he was the creative director on Clone Wars, and then he directs Star Wars Rebels, I believe. Or he's an executive producer or something. Anyway, he was basically talking about how he didn't want Ahsoka just to be another reason that Darth Vader falls deeper into the dark side. So I think that their confrontation is going to be a little more complex than that.
I think so too. And I also watched an interview with him, and he said that they wanted to know, there was an interview with him, and they wanted to know if Ahsoka would be present in maybe Rogue One or one of the prequel movies coming out. And he said he'd be fine with letting them use any characters in the Star Wars universe, but they'd really have to come up with a brilliant story for him to let them use Ahsoka, because he said it's really his creation and that's who he focuses on. So he really wants to be in a big controlling part of where she goes as a character.
Yeah. Oh man. So I want to see Ahsoka in a live action movie. She's one of my favorite Jedi.
I mean, I just want to see her in Rebels take out her dual lightsabers and just start kicking ass.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be awesome. I'm so eager. That confrontation, I'm like, every time I think about it, I get like chills and uncomfortable because it's gonna be so intense.
It is, and you know they're sending more Inquisitors down now as well. So I think there's like 4 of them that they're sending.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting for sure. I think Ahsoka is gonna dispatch them easily.
I think she'll manhandle them. But I think a lot of it will be Kanan and Ezra dealing with them. And, they had a lot of trouble with one Inquisitor. 4 Inquisitors, though.
Oh, God. We'll see. Kanan actually reminds me of Anakin. Like, from the Clone Wars, like, he's abrasive, he's like, he has an attitude. He doesn't have Anakin's arrogance.
There's similarities, but he definitely doesn't quite have the arrogance, but he's just kind of...
He's kind of Han Solo-esque.
Yeah, he's just young, I think, but he's trying to be wise for his Padawan.
Yeah. I think that at some point we're going to see either Ezra or Kanan be tempted with the dark side.
I think we've already seen Ezra be tempted with it.
When he controlled the beast?
Yeah, the giant beast.
Yeah, that might be because he used his anger to do it.
Yeah, and then Kanan knew instantly. He was like, "Stop! Like, don't do it! Like, don't use that kind of energy."
Yeah, which makes me feel as if just using the dark side is manipulating on its own. Like, not just caving into those emotions, but I get the sense that it amplifies those negative feelings.
I think it does. I think when you use like your anger and stuff, you can instantly feel the power rush. Like, it doesn't, It's not like a Jedi where it's a calm power, but like you can instantly feel like a power boost. Whether you can sustain that power boost or not, I don't know. Like, maybe you sustain it a little bit.
Well, it seems like a drug that's like, I always got this sense that, I mean, it's not exactly like this, but maybe like the dark side is like that little devil on your shoulder, and then you have the light side that's like the angel on your shoulder, and basically the dark side is like this force. It is the force, but that like kind of encourages you, not by saying anything, but with the feeling and emotions. It encourages you to continue down that path and give in to your hatred and anger, which is how Darth Vader stayed in it for so long.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is the way the Jedi have kind of been teaching is to not let any emotions show. And it's much harder to suppress all emotions than it is to let one emotion flow through. And the dark side only needs, one of those negative emotions to flow.
Right. Well, I think the main Jedi is that it's okay to feel, but you need to move on quickly. You can't dwell on things, because the further you dwell, the more angry you get.
Yeah, and it's human nature just to dwell on things, so that's why it's so hard to resist.
It is hard. Man, Anakin's so tragic.
He is so tragic. But in the new premiere episode that came out, we saw, Rex come back.
Oh man, so in Lost Commanders, in the first fall premiere, the fall premiere episode, I guess, he's back, which is awesome. I'm so glad he's back.
He was my favorite clone trooper.
Oh yeah, and that's much respect to the team that did Clone Wars, who's also doing Rebels. They gave the clone troopers the character.
I'm glad they gave him the same voice actor too.
Oh yeah, me too. I just love that he's the same guy. And I like how they were like, no, we didn't want to kill it. We took our microchips out.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that they tried to, or I guess they did. They used, what's his name? They used him as bait.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. I think that was mostly for comedy, but at the same time, and it was also a catalyst for Kanan to be more distrusting.
Yeah, and he's definitely distrusting because we learned that, they were the ones that killed his master, so it makes sense why he doesn't trust the clone troopers. But we saw Clone Wars, so we know Rex, so we know he's a good guy.
Wait, those weren't the specific clone troopers that killed his master?
No. They weren't specific. He just has a hatred for all clone troopers.
Right. Yeah. Kind of rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's not their fault.
I thought it was really interesting to learn that Rex and Gregor and the other guy, Wolf, they did join the Empire for a while.
Yeah, it seems like they were relieved of duty. All clone troopers were.
Yeah, but they definitely said they worked for the Empire for a while before they were relieved of duty.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they definitely said that in the episode, which I thought was interesting. And that's why they had Imperial codes and such, some that still work, they said.
Yeah, then that makes sense why they would even have those codes.
Yeah.
Also, Rex had a quote from somebody.
From Anakin.
I wasn't sure if it was Anakin or Obi-Wan, but I like that it was Anakin.
I'm pretty sure it was Anakin. Because Rex and Anakin worked together the most throughout the Clone Wars.
Yeah. You know, what I was, another tidbit from Dave Filoni is that he said that Darth Vader is going to try to crush Ahsoka, not because he doesn't care about her, but because he's trying to crush any past and feelings that are holding him on to the good side at all. Yeah. So, because he's so... I wonder if he has any conflict about what he's done.
I think he has lots of conflict, and I think there's been a few books that really demonstrate his conflict throughout his whole Darth Vader period. So he always has a little bit of conflict in some of the books. You can really hear what's going on in his head.
Yeah. I also read about, I watched the ending of The Return of the Jedi today, and, Luke was talking to Vader, and he was just like, I can, sense that there's conflict in you. I know that you don't feel completely good about this. And he was like, it's too late for me. I can't go back now. So I think Vader's almost lying to himself.
I think so, too.
Because the Anakin in Clone Wars was a good person. He was brash, and he was conflicted, and he wanted to save people. But he was at his core, he was still a good person. He wasn't, an evil guy.
No, he was not.
So I like to see where that goes. I wonder if he's going to have any interaction with Rex.
I don't foresee that happening.
I hope Rex gets more involved. I think that'd be cool.
I think so, too. I think because now they know the Empire is coming, and then Rex is like, well, he was mad that Wolf sent the Imperial fleet a notice, so he was upset, so they destroyed the drone and stuff. So I think they may end up on the run with the rebels.
That makes sense. That'll be a good way to get them into it without sacrificing the beliefs that they've established for them, that they don't want to be involved anymore.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think either way, they're still going to be involved, though.
Yeah, I think they'll be dragged into it. I would love to see Captain Rex as, a really old guy in one of the new Star Wars movies.
And, the way they took out all their chips and stuff, because they really did have a strong connection to the Jedi, and they fought with them, and they trusted them, and they didn't want to betray them. So that was nice to know, that they actively did something to avoid it.
I definitely agree that I like that. I hope we see some of that conflict in Vader, just a little bit. Obviously he's not going to turn good because that doesn't happen for 20 years or whatever. But I would still like to see him see Ahsoka and hold back.
Yeah, I think he's going to be conflicted for sure, but it's because he wants to crush her because he does still feel at least, a smidge of just, a little bit of good in him. He's got a little bit left.
Yeah, I mean, you don't just stop caring about people. I mean, he was torn apart when she left the Order,
Yeah, he was.
That really hurt him. So I don't think that he's just going to be able to abolish those feelings.
No, I don't think so either.
I'm very excited to see where they take him because it'll be interesting. Ahsoka's one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, period.
Yeah, so. She's one of mine as well. I really like what they've done with her character and how they've developed her. I'm excited to see where this season goes because it's double the length of the last season because I think the last one was 13 episodes and this one's 22 or 23.
And I guess it did really well, so they're doing more of them.
Yep, and it's great to know that all of this is canon.
I know. I was thinking that. I always feel like it's not going to connect to the movies, but it does. It's all canon. Clone Wars, Rebels, all the books, all the comics now.
Yep, and from what I've heard, they've been super detailed about to make everything consistent. Because I watched an interview with the writer of Fallen Stars. I think that's the title of it, or the Lost Stars or something.
Lost Stars. I think.
Lost Stars. Yeah, and the writer was when she was writing, she would contact the people in charge of writing the canon to make sure it was all canon, and they would tell her no, you can't use this specific ship because right now it's on this other planet and stuff. So they're definitely being very detail oriented about making sure everything consistently fits.
Yeah, I had just seen that. So I had read Lords of the Sith, the book, and yes. They make reference to Clone Wars in the book, which I found pretty interesting. So I know that some characters from Clone Wars are definitely in Darth Vader's thoughts at that point in the book. I'm not sure where Rebels takes place in relation to that book specifically, but I think that it might happen a little bit before or a little bit after. I think it's before, but so
So is it more Jedi people he thinks about, or is it more like clone troopers and friends he knew from other places?
He recalls events because they have to revisit a planet that he went to in the Clone Wars, but also he recalls Jedi companions.
I gotcha. Yeah, it seems very interesting.
So anyone who hasn't read that, definitely check it out. It's a good book. I mean, they take the perspective of some rebels on Ryloth that are trying to ignite a spark in the rebellion. So yeah, then this book definitely takes place before Rebels, because there are some characters in Rebels that are related to some characters in the Lords of the Sith book. So it definitely takes place before, and it makes it more interesting. I think you'll get a little bit more fulfillment from Rebels if you actually read the Lords of the Sith book.
And I've heard you'll also get a little more fulfillment if you read the Canon series.
I've heard that too. I think I'm going to check that out.
Because you get a fuller backstory of like things like why he hates the clone troopers so much.
Yeah, I mean, they explained it. His reason was fine enough for me, but I guess actually seeing it happen would also be helpful. Yeah, I'm very curious to see where they take the rest of the characters as well. I really like Hera. I think she might be my second favorite character on the show. If not, I mean, if Ahsoka wasn't on the show, I think she'd be my favorite.
Yeah, well, Ahsoka and Darth Vader and Yoda, and if they weren't all in the show.
But Hera's cool. I really like her attitude. I'm waiting to see if there's going to be some sort of romance between her and Kanan, or if it's going to be completely platonic.
Oh, come on. It's not completely platonic already.
Because there's definitely been like little...
There's chemistry between them. You can feel it. It's in the air.
Yeah, definitely. So I think Kanan's going to have a moment of dark side temptation. Something bad. He's going to think something bad happened to Hera, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But
could be. I mean, that moment of dark side could also be if something bad happens to Ezra. Because when he fought the Inquisitor in the season finale last season, he got a little more, not quite to the point of like anger, but he was definitely more motivated in a revenge sort of way.
Yeah.
But not quite the negative feelings yet.
Yeah. Another thing I like about Rebels in general is how proactive all the characters are. Like, everyone's trying to do something. Like, no one's just sitting around waiting for other characters to solve their problems. Like, that whole crew is really awesome.
They've got a great chemistry between all of the members.
They do. I like all the characters.
Even the droid.
Yeah, me too. Chopper, he's great. He's no R2-D2, but I like Chopper.
Chopper's good. Though, you know, he's not good with other droids. Just push that other one out of the plane.
It's such a dick move.
I mean, I thought they had a moment when they started talking to each other, him and the Imperial droid. Nope.
He was like, no, I'm the only droid here. Get out. Yeah, I like him. It was more like endearing, even though it was kind of like he just murdered another droid. But it's still kind of funny.
Well, the other droid didn't die. We saw him land safely.
That's true.
So, I'm sure he knew that the other droid would be completely fine.
I sure hope so.
I don't think he did.
Oh, man. Star Wars is great stuff. We could talk about this all day long.
And we could talk about it forever, but I think we should leave some more stuff for next week's episode of Star Wars Rebels.
Definitely should. I think we wrapped it up pretty well. Star Wars Rebels is great. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. You can marathon the first season now. If you're
still listening, then you've had a couple spoilers, you know.
Yeah. The first episode of season 2, the mini movie, the 2-part episode, might be better than the entirety of the first season.
I would also agree with that.
It was really good.
I enjoyed it so much. It was great.
Well, because now that Darth Vader is in it, and now that they're connecting more threads throughout the universe, it feels more part of Star Wars than it did before.
Well, and you see Darth Vader kicking ass.
Oh, man. Yeah, so watch that for that reason alone. I mean, that is worth the price of admission. So check it out if you haven't. But I think that's it for us here at Media Men.
Yep. So if you like this video, like it, subscribe, comment below, let us know your thoughts, let us know where you think Star Wars Rebels is going. Who would you like to see in the Star Wars Rebels series this season?
And if you liked what you heard, share it with your friends. And I think that's it. Media Men out.